Sometimes the most amazing discoveries happened by pure accident. Recently, a drone captured something truly unexpected while flying over a remote and deserted area. An accidental discovery at the bottom of a lake could reveal a decades-old case. What started as a routine study turned into an incredible find, hidden deep in the middle of nowhere. Welcome to a new video. Let's explore some of the most incredible finds that were discovered by pure chance and find out how a drone simply discovered something in the middle of nowhere by accident. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to our channel. It's free. Now let's get started. Number 8. The long-lost plane in the depths of Fulmore Lakes. The mystery surrounding the 1965 plane crash at California's Fulmore Lake may finally be close to being solved thanks to a surprising discovery made by drones. In a stroke of luck, two men testing sonar and Doctor technology stumbled upon something extraordinary. What appeared to be the wreckage of the missing plane submerged 160 feet underwater. Tyler Atkinson and Jeff Riley, working for Seafloor Systems, had no idea that their routine testing in the lake would lead to the discovery of a plane that had been lost for over 50 years. While guiding their drones and sonar devices, the team spotted an oddly shaped object at one of the deepest points in the lake. Upon closer examination, the drone footage revealed the unmistakable outline of a plane complete with propeller and wings, eerily preserved in the depths of Lake Fulmore. The discovery coming just as a severe drought reduced the lake's water levels, providing clearer visibility for the drones to capture these vital images. What makes this even more fascinating is that the wreckage was found miles away from the originally recorded Florida site. Another layer to the mystery. The plane is believed to be the Piper Comanche 250 that crashed after a mid-air collision on New Year's Day 1965. Although the pilot's body was recovered shortly after the crash. The other two victims, along with the plane, had remained missing for decades, despite numerous search efforts. The drone footage shows clear images of the plane's turbine and other parts, but no plane number or human remains have yet been identified, leaving some uncertainty. As investigators continue with more recovery efforts, it is expected that more will continue to be discovered. As water levels continue to drop, the discovery of the drone has rekindled hopes of closing a mystery that has haunted families and investigators for over half a century. Could this be the final chapter in one of California's long-lost aviation mysteries? Only time and more advanced drone technology will tell. Number 7. Magma beneath Alaska's volcano-free region. Imagine scientists digging deep into seismic data in search of answers to earthquake mysteries. What they found instead was even more surprising. An underground reservoir of magma hidden beneath a volcano-free region of Alaska. The Denali Volcanic Gap, as it's called, has long puzzled geologists. Located above one of the most active fault zones in the US, this region should have a volcano, but it never did. Or so we thought. In 2019, scientists embarked on a mission to gather seismic data after a massive 7.1 earthquake struck Anchorage in 2018. Their instruments detected something unusual, a seismic velocity anomaly, or in simpler terms, a slow-moving area where seismic waves were being distorted. This anomaly, buried about 7 miles underground, suggested the presence of molten magma in a place no one expected for years. Geologists have been puzzled by the fact that Denali is surrounded by volcanoes to the east and west, but none exist directly in this area. Denali's location, just 60 miles above a fault zone and surrounded by volcanic activity, left many stumped. Could this newly discovered magma explain the mystery left behind by the apocalypse? Experts are intrigued. Although the magma reservoir appears smaller than the massive volcanoes nearby, its discovery was a shock. Geologists are already planning the next stage of the investigation. They will try to get a clearer picture of this anomaly, but that will require placing seismic monitors in the challenging, rugged terrain of Alaska's interior. Number 206. 1000 Year-Old Crusader Sword. In 2021, divers off the coast of Israel stumbled upon an extraordinary find, a medieval sword that had likely belonged to a crusade 800 or 900 years ago, covered in sand and littered with seashells. This ancient weapon, nearly 3 t long, was preserved by the same elements that had buried it for centuries. The Crusades were bloody religious wars fought between Christians and Muslims from 1095 BC to 1291, and the sword offers a glimpse into that brutal history. But how did this relic end up at sea? Many believe it was thrown away during a naval battle by its owner, possibly in the heat of combat, and was never recovered. Archaeologists first saw the sword as a heavily encrusted object, making its details difficult to assess, but X-rays revealed the weapon's secrets. A bent blade was likely damaged during battle and abandoned without being repaired, leading researchers to conclude that the sword, now known as the New Sword, had been used in fierce head-to-head combat during the Crusades. The sword's design, though bent and worn, reveals the importance of these weapons in medieval times. Beyond tools for battle, they were personal treasures that were often passed down through generations, so losing such a prized possession to the sea would have been a devastating, if not fatal, blow to a crusader. Interestingly, this find is one of the few referring to swords from the Crusades ever discovered in the region. Most of the weapons were recycled into metal after they were no longer usable, and while no remains of any humans were found near the sword, it leads us to wonder, could the warrior who wielded this sword still lie beneath the shifting sands? Number 05. The 18th Century Toy. Hold on to your hats because this story takes a rather unexpected turn into the realm of history, and yes, even a bit of cheeky intrigue. Imagine a team of archaeologists meticulously excavating the grounds of an 18th century fencing school in Gans, Poland. They are on the hunt for relics that tell stories of warriors and battles of the past. But what they unearthed was no ordinary artifact. It was something that had likely seen a completely different kind of action. As the researchers were digging through layers of the earth, their shovels hit something rather unusual. A large leather object that would soon be revealed to be an ancient sex toy. Yes, you heard right, this was no ordinary find. This is a piece dating back to the 18th century, found quietly in what was once a toilet, a rather intimate resting place for such an item. Described as being quite thick and quite large, this peculiar artifact featured bristles on the inside and a good structure with preserved wooden tips. A spokesperson for Poland's Regional Office for the Protection of Monuments explained the discovery with a mix of amusement and curiosity. Someone probably dropped it in the toilet. And whether he said it was by accident or on purpose is anyone's guess. We can only imagine. Stories swirl around this mysterious mishap. But let's take a moment to appreciate how fascinating this discovery truly is. For centuries, people have created sex toys using materials ranging from stone and wood to leather and even animal dung. The Institute of Sexology has documented these practices throughout history by revealing that humanity's pursuit of pleasure has been inventive and resourceful across cultures and eras. Before stumbling upon this unexpected gem, archaeologists had already discovered an impressive collection of ancient swords at the site. Relics that spoke of the martial prowess and training that took place there until now. Amidst these symbols of combat was an artifact that whispered secrets about human desires for intimacy and perhaps even humor from centuries ago. Number 4. An underground world in Turkey. The discovery of Derinkuyu in 1963 was nothing short of accidental. An anonymous resident was losing chickens to a curious invader. During renovations to his home, he stumbled upon something extraordinary, a dark passageway leading to an ancient world. This chance encounter opened the floodgates to exploration as archaeologists unearthed over 600 doorways connected to private homes, revealing an entire civilization hidden from prying eyes. But what lurks within those shadows? As he descended into the depths of Derinkuyu, he was enveloped by a musty, history-laden air. Narrow passageways forced him to navigate single file at every turn, revealing rooms once used for living learning and even schools of worship adorned with barrel-vaulted ceilings that beckoned students eager for knowledge. While the cellars hinted at celebrations held beneath the Earth's surface, the cleverly designed stables kept livestock close enough for warmth but far enough away from everyday living spaces. Evidence that those who dwelled here knew how to adapt to their surroundings, but perhaps most remarkable is how this underground city was designed for survival against invaders. Rocks could be placed to seal tunnels during attacks, creating barriers between safety and danger. Small holes allowed defenders to protect their homes without exposing themselves. A clever tactic in times of danger, while exploring these depths could induce feelings of confinement. It's hard not to admire the architectural brilliance on display. A sophisticated ventilation system ensured fresh air flowed throughout all levels, while a shaft dug deep into the earth provided clean water, a lifeline for those living underground for extended periods. Every room served a purpose. There was no wasted space in this intricate design intended for both shelter and community. Now, why would someone build such a massive underground settlement? Well, it's still up for debate, but most people think that it was created during the early Christian period as a way to protect people from invasions the city had. Huge stone doors and narrow passageways helped its inhabitants stay safe underground during turbulent times. When times of peace came, people no longer needed to hide, so the city was eventually abandoned. Number 3. Rare photograph valued at millions. In 2010, Randy Gajaro, a telecommunications technician and lifelong collector, stumbled upon a rare historical treasure when he purchased a tin-type photograph at an antique store in Fresno, California for just $2. Gajaro acquired 3 photographs, including one that later turned out to be a rare image of notorious Wild West outlaw Billy the Kid playing croquet with members of his gang, the Regulators. This photograph, taken in 1878, is now valued at a staggering $5 million. The discovery of the photograph was a result of Gajaro's keen interest in historical memorabilia, as he and his wife Linda had been involved in treasure hunting for years. After examining the tintype under a microscope, Gajaro recognized Billy the Kid by his distinctive stance and hat. His wife helped identify other members of the gang using historical records and images. The journey to authenticate the photo took 5 years and involved the expertise of academics, collectors, and facial recognition specialists. The photograph, capturing an 1878 moment after a wedding, is one of only 2 known authenticated images of Billy the Kid. Its value and historical significance were further highlighted in a National Geographic documentary narrated by Kevin Costner. Number 02. Mysterious Pillar in the Utah Desert. On November 18, 2020, while wildlife officials were conducting a routine survey of bighorn sheep from the air, fate led them to what would become one of the most talked about discoveries of the year. Pilot Brett Hutchings remembers how the biologist's voice cut through the drone of the helicopter. There was urgency in his tone as he motioned for Hutchings to return for another look at this magmatic structure. The Utah monolith was a metal pillar that stood in a red sandstone canyon in northern San Juan County, Utah, United States. The pillar was 9.8 feet tall and made of metal sheets riveted into a triangular prism. It was illegally placed on public land between July and October 2016. It went unnoticed for over 4 years until its discovery and removal in late 2020. The identity of its creators and its objectives are unknown. The team's initial observations hinted at something extraordinary. It looked undeniably man-made and had been firmly planted in the ground rather than simply dropped there by some unknown person. Force Pings jokingly expressed a sense of mystery, saying, "If one of us suddenly disappears and the rest of us run away, this has to do with it." This startling find was shared with the world via social media. A single photograph was posted on Instagram, igniting curiosity and speculation amongst followers as word spread like wildfire across platforms and media outlets. People around the world began to speculate on its origins. Was it a strange installation? Or perhaps something far more sinister? By November 23rd, anticipation grew as the Utah DPS released additional photos and videos showing this amazing pillar, but concealed its exact location for safety reasons. They were clearly aware that such a discovery could draw attention beyond their control to what lay beneath this mysterious pillar. Why was it there, and who had placed it in such an isolated area? As theories swirled online and adventurers planned trips to uncover its secrets, one thing became clear. This unassuming pillar had transformed from an ordinary natural feature to an international sensation almost overnight. As explorers flocked to further investigate Utah's wild landscapes in search of answers, or perhaps just a glimpse of this newly discovered icon, the questions arose more than ever before. Each person involved in this story brought with them their own stories and interpretations of what they believed this pillar represented. Was it simply an artistic expression or a message from another time? Following intense media coverage, it was covertly removed on November 27, 2020 by 4 residents of Moab, Utah after nearly a month in their possession, and was turned over to the Bureau of Land Management and is currently in their possession. Number 1. Alexander Calder Necklace. Picture this, a bustling flea market in Brooklyn, where the air is heavy with the scent of old finds and the thrill of treasure hunting amidst the chaos. A self-proclaimed flea market addict sifts through a cardboard box filled with what many would consider junk, old electrical appliances and forgotten clothing. Little did she know she was about to stumble upon a piece of art worth a small fortune. This is no ordinary necklace. It is a brass creation by none other than Alexander Calder, one of the most famous, influential sculptors of the 20th century. It was back in 2013 when this woman who had made flea hunting her passion spotted the necklace hidden in that simple box for just $15. Think about it. For the price of a cup of coffee, she unwittingly acquired a piece of art that would later be valued at up to $300,000. How often do you hear stories like that? It's like finding a golden ticket in a Willy Wonka-style chocolate bar. A few years later, our lucky finder stumbled upon another similar necklace while flipping through the pages of the Philadelphia Weekly. The magazine was promoting an exhibition at the Philadelphia Museum of Art titled "He Called Her Jewels." Her curiosity was piqued, and she couldn't shake the feeling that her flea market find might be something extraordinary. After all, how many people happen upon jewelry from one of the greats of modern art? Encouraged by a friend, she approached Christie's, one of the world's leading auction houses. There, she met Elizabeth Agro, an associate curator at Christie's, who had organized an exhibition dedicated to Calder's jewelry in 2008. After closely examining the necklace, Miss Agro was convinced of its authenticity and urged her to take it to the Calder Foundation for further verification. When confirmation came that this necklace was indeed a genuine work by Calder, it sent shockwaves through the art and auction worlds. Suddenly, what had started as an innocent hunt for ancient treasures was transformed into an exciting journey towards potential riches and recognition. We've reached the end of this video. Tell us what you think in the comments box. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss future videos like this one. Until next time!